Peace and greetings, everyone. I trust you all had a wonderful Guy Fawkes night. Hopefully it didn't keep you up too late, all the noisy bangs, late night pops.
Morning. Hello.
Shout out Sigma. Shout out MA. I was just listening to your live cast you was doing with SFM last night. I almost didn't do this live. I thought I have to pull myself away. Great conversation. I was just listening to your point about wholesome, i.e. goodness, outside of the family framework. Interesting points there, May. I thought, shall I finish listening or shall I live cast? I thought, oh, let me save the best till last, so I'll listen to the rest of the SFM cast with MA later on, God willing. But there was a few.
Hold the British foot.
That's right. There was a few points I did want to talk about. I was actually up last night thinking about these points. I was up last night thinking about these points. They're not groundbreaking, but sometimes you get a thought and it just doesn't go away. So I was thinking, sustainable practice, sustainable habits, lasting changes. It is a thing that nobody talks about. I don't think any of the old manosphere, any of the new ones, what we call legacy MIG tours. I don't think. Well, I don't watch Stardust anyway. I doubt we talked about it. I've not heard Spetsnaz talk about it. Not heard Barbaro talk about it. So I thought, yeah, let's get some exclusivity on the old shining light category. So, how do we make this philosophy? How do we progress this ideology so it's a workable, livable lifestyle? How do we convert it from words into an implementable
Worst time to have a
model?
stream, bro.
So you can watch it later, Orbs. I'll keep it up for as long as Google doesn't start tearing me down again. Everything else that Google hasn't taken down is unlisted. So long as you've saved the link, you should be able to access it. I don't know if I'm being reported or if it's been caught up in
The older ones were deleted.
I don't think so. I think if you've got the links for the older ones, you can still access them. I think there's only a couple that Google flagged up for violations. I don't know why. Anyway, social media is always censoring you anyway. But yeah, so sustainable habits, lasting changes. It's something that we don't talk about, and I'm sure a lot of you will be having thoughts or be having issues with this area.
I'm surprised there are snitches in this small of a community.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, Orbs. Best not to think about it. You just move on. These are the conditions that we operate in. So we just
doesn't appreciate Shining's British fascism.
No, they don't appreciate my fascism. But yeah, just a bit of context. First of all, it did make me think, first of all, about other models of male or masculine lifestyle practices, such as, is it the 5 stages of grief? I don't know. I haven't studied too much, but I thought it was also similar to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now, I'll try not to sound too over the top, but I do have a problem with these stages, these hierarchy of needs. First of all, I don't believe people go. These stages are just far too simplistic. Just as Maslow's hierarchy of needs, they are far too or overly simplistic. I don't think people go from grief to acceptance to growth. I think people jump backwards and forwards. So on some days, some months, some weeks, you'll be grieving for the tragedies that has occurred in your life, and then later on in the year, you'll have a period of acceptance, and then Christmas will come, New Year will come, and then you'll jump back to grief. And then maybe during the summer, you'll jump to the growth period. And same with Haslow's hierarchy of needs. You jump up and down from each stage. I don't think people have these stages of level one, level two, level three. I think it's far too simplistic. And I was thinking, really, what is the use of this 5 stages of grieving? I was trying to see, well, should I criticize it to this point where I'm rubbishing it really? And the reason why I think it deserves criticism because the 5 stages of grief and Maslow's hierarchy of needs are so widely accepted amongst academia and amongst social media. But I think it was time that I did point out the fact that not only do people jump from one stage backwards and forwards, up and down.
Isn't as needy as us.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think he was a Chad. I think he just wanted to be academic. I think he just put out that hierarchy of needs, not realizing how widely accepted it would be. But in terms of the 5 stages of grief, I don't think men really are ever categorized in any one of those stages. I think all of us are in varying degrees to each stage. So all of us right now will have a varying degree of grief, a varying degree of acceptance.
He said the 3rd stage is needing intimacy to demoralize beaters.
And I think we're in a small or a limited embrace of growth. I think we're little bits in all of them. So normally we would draw like a circle around each one, and then we would put the circles overlapping each stages. So that would represent just how much we were in each stage. Just like none of us are superior intellects and none of us are completely stupid. We all have varying degrees of stupidity and intellect. No one's completely over grief. No one's completely in acceptance. No one's completely in the growth period. So when you understand this, you can understand how complex and how difficult it is to have sustainable habits and to keep the changes, the positive changes, and also I would say the negative impacts that.
Sign of the horn's folded hands.
Shut up, Aztec. So that's why we jump backwards and forwards. We have good days, we have bad days. But I wanted to talk about methods, ways you could have a more sustainable, lasting changes.
Superior intellect. Better find a lady to help fix my confidence dive.
Yeah, so yeah, I know. Not all of us are gonna be at this stage where we're thinking, okay, I've moved away from the gynocentric matrix plantation. I've started working out. I've started improving my discipline, improving my spiritual strength, my physical strength. I've started controlling my emotions, and I'm in good command of my thoughts. So how do I keep this up? Because this is actually quite a high level of achievement. Let's face it, anyone that's actually trying to do this knows it's not something all men are going to be able to keep up all the time. So I thought I'd share some of the things that I do that I've noticed other men are not doing. First of all, I know it sounds simple, but it's well worth reiterating. You have to you have to set your environment. You have to control what goes into you, because that will affect what affects and what output you have. So that means detaching yourself from legacy media. It sounds obvious, but people are still watching the old mainstream. Well, it's
What
not
men fail
mainstream.
to realize.
So BBC, CNN, Jimmy Dore, Max Blumenthal. I love you guys. What's that? Max Egan. Love you guys, but you guys are still falling into the same idiotic trap that's set out for all the denizens of the Matrix. You're still making response videos to what the president says, to what the Home Secretary says, to what New Zealand's Prime Minister and Canada's Prime Minister is saying. Even
We
if you're
love
just making,
mainstream news.
even
Exploding
if
head.
you're making response videos and you're trying to call them out, or you're trying to dispel myths and stuff, the fact is you're still watching it. And you're still putting their message. Listen, the only time I ever hear what Biden says, the only time I ever hear what the Prime Minister says, the only time I even knew who Justin Trudeau was when I was watching Max Egan, when I'm watching David Icke, when I'm watching Jimmy Dore, when I'm watching all these response videos to what they say. If you didn't make those response videos, I wouldn't hear what the mainstream media is saying, what legacy media is. I wouldn't know what BBC is saying without you telling me what they're saying. So
I don't follow the news at all.
yeah, so shout out to all you guys. Yeah, I love your protest. I love the fact that your alternative views and stuff, but you're spreading the foolishness. I know most of the guys in these circles, they don't fall into that category, but this is why I stopped watching Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore is hilarious. Very smart guy. He's a great asset to the US. Max Egan, everyone knows Max Egan. Very edgy, very stimulating points of view. But I just have to stop watching him. Every time I watch him, I learn what Israel's doing. I learn what New Zealand, the woke Canadian and New Zealand and Australian Prime Minister are saying. And I purposely try and avoid what they're trying to say. Because now it's in my head. It's like I never would have thought of these like idiotic rulers, what these rulers
This
are
is a
thinking of.
conundrum. Even the ancient Greek Stoics said to be political, but also to be careful of what you allow to influence you.
Because I think we're at that stage now
I didn't
that
know there was a war between Hamas and Israel until a week later.
the thing is we're not in a position to affect really any change in those areas. They only want to win over our hearts and minds. They're trying to influence us so we don't protest, so we don't resist, that we embrace these harmful decisions from our rulers. And the fact that people are making response videos, people that we love and we like to listen to, and we find interesting and benefit from their points of view and from their intellect and wisdom. The fact that you're spreading the news, spreading the propaganda, you, you're part of the problem. These guys, they don't realize you're part of the problem. Honest to God, honest to God, this is the truth. A
Modern news
BBC.
is largely just spectacle. Engaging with it is verbal blood sports or bread and circus.
Yeah, just the last point on this. The BBC sent a representative to knock on my door because I've never had a TV license. As soon as I left my parents' house, never watched a legacy TV broadcast. So after a couple of years, they knocked on my door. I'd moved around a bit. I'd gone to college. I'd moved from one place to another. And eventually they knocked on my door and they said, "Oh, I'm from the BBC. I've come to check to see if you've got a TV license." Honest to God, I did not know the BBC still
I'm in
existed.
Alberta, Canada. I keep Trudeau hidden.
I did not know the BBC was still operating.
No
It was
headphones and their licenses.
it had
The
been
BBC wanted to know if you were harboring Tommy Robinson.
it had been so long since I'd watched legacy TV broadcast that I had completely forgotten that BBC still existed until they sent someone round to ask if I had a TV license. So so we'll move on from that. So the kind of things I do to keep me keep my head clean, keep me on the straight and narrow is the first thing I do is I vary my habits. So I change up. So that could be from anything from exercise routine to dietary habits
It is
to
true that the people have
entertainment
to
and
have a TV
pastimes.
license in the UK.
Yeah, Orbs, like I said, these are just the conditions that we live in. None of us are going to lobby our MPs and our governments and say, look, can you change the TV? I mean, yeah, go and vote for third party, vote for independence, but that's about the extent you can do. I mean, most of us can barely meet up for a steak and
Do
shake.
move on sell us on eliminating all the noise from one's life. Get deeper into how to choose entertainment and pastimes.
Yeah, so vary your habits, vary your entertainments, vary the places that you go. This year is coming to a close. I think we're moving into mid-November now. This year was nothing like my previous year. I didn't visit the same haunts. I didn't eat at the same places. I even changed up my coffee habits. I've come back to coffee now. During summer, I only drank black tea. Before I was drinking coffee, I was drinking green tea. I used to run 20, 30 minutes twice every week. Now I'm back to my katas. I used to go visit the museum, and then I'd go frequent the lake. Then I'd go frequent areas in the city. I would change up my viewing and listening habits. I don't watch the same films consecutively in a year. It's very strange. I've got like a playlist of films that I'll watch. It's like between 8 and 10 films. We all know the favourites in
I have
Shawshank
Simon's
Redemption.
voice in my head. It is telling me to stop watching this live stream and go hiking without filming it.
So yeah, so vary your habits, vary your entertainments. But something that I'm sure a lot of you are not doing is just as we abstain from sexual engagement.
Sounds like the life of a sad coping man-child.
Yeah, a friend of mine, he said, oh, I'm sick of all music and I'm sick of listening to the same music, or there's no good movies out. Listen, try this. Something I do is occasionally, once every month, maybe twice every 2 months, I'll
The
fast.
culture wars are wildly fun. You must account for this.
I'll fast for 24 hours. So this is not something that's particularly religious. I know the Muslims, Christians, and the Jews, they fast. But there's also, yeah, well, we all know, it's coming out now. It's more and more popular. They're talking about the medical benefits of fasting and stuff. But there's also mental benefits to fasting. When you don't eat or drink, so I think the medical term is a nil by mouth, when you have nothing for 24 hours, as MA will attest, your next meal will be fantastic. It can be the most simple, most bland, it can be water and bread, and it will taste fantastic. You must abstain from common joys occasionally, which also includes listening to music. I will go a month without listening to music. And then when I start listening to music again, it sounds fantastic. I will go a month without watching movies. And then the next movie I watch is so emotional, so impactful. It's like I'm watching it for the first time. These are the sustainable habits that will affect lasting change. These will also improve whatever stage you're in. If you're in grief, if you're in acceptance, if you're in growth, all these areas are improved when your life, your general living standards are
I accidentally
improved.
fasted yesterday and then I has a yellowfin tuna sandwich and it was the best.
Yeah, MA will attest to this. If you're already in the habit of fasting, yeah, try the 24-hour fast. And when you've reached that 24-hour fast, try the 48-hour fast. Go 48 hours, nil by mouth. If you haven't done fasting before, just
I
try
was
12
watching a
hours.
Huberman Lab episode on dopamine this very morning.
Okay, so I think I talked about detaching yourself from legacy media. Unfortunately, that means I have to stop watching people like Jimmy Dore, Max Egan. I have to stop watching Max Blumenthal, who great men. God willing, they will be written down in the annals of history when I think this period is over. But to counter that, what I do, I have constant communication with as many people as I can, which is one of the
48
purposes.
hours. Good Lord, that's a lot of starving.
MA, just do 24 hours if you can't do 48. But yeah,
As a
constant.
Yankee, I have no idea who those people are.
They're all Americans. I think Max Blumenthal's American, Jimmy Dore's American. In fact, they're about as American as they get. Very old school American, very Magna Carta, very constitutional, founding fathers type of Americans. But
Shows you
anyway,
how much I watch TV.
yeah, don't watch TV if you can avoid it. Don't watch TV. Watch some, latch yourself onto some great scholars, some great narrators. Men that have proven themselves time and time again. They've got a history of being on the right side. But anyway, so what I do instead of watching legacy media is I have constant communication with as many people as I can, which is what one of the purposes of this live stream. Even if nobody came, I still do this. I talk about these points. I'll play about 20 minutes, half an hour of gaming. Hopefully, I'll get a chance to explain why I like this game. I think.
Shining likes to hate watch American pundits. It's research for his devious British faces and plans.
No, I think the US shamefully have wasted a lot of their talent. I think there's some great men. I've always said, and I think it's a testament to why racism is such an idiotic ideology. I've always said, no nation, no supposed race or ethnicity has a monopoly in either stupidity or in greatness. I have found, if I selected the greatest men I've ever known, whether personally or heard of or read about or researched on, they would spread across all nationalities, all ethnicities, all religions. There's no capital on greatness from any nation, from any ethnicity, from any religion. Each man chooses his religion, but his ethnicity and his nationality are really circumstantial. So, anyway, so constant communication. Live casting is a great way to communicate with people. I text quite often. Messenger knows I text him. I text him 4 o'clock in the morning sometimes. Sorry, brother, if you forget to silence your phone, it's just I have something I have to share, and if you're on my friends list, I'll just send it to you. Yeah, social media. I don't have backwards and forwards. I don't go on the forums anymore. I don't text fight on people's videos on the commentary section. Avoid them. I don't do that, but I do visit people on social media. I'll send them messages. I'll phone people when I can. if they're willing to chat. I think 5 minute phone calls are not
I
productive.
agree. I cycle through overconsumption of media, wanting to create media and coming out of my shell to yell at strangers online.
You're yelling at strangers online. That's very damaging to the psyche, I think. To the psyche and spirituality. I think confrontation, in fact, it's something that I was going to talk about on this game as well. Confrontation is something that I'm discovering is more negative than positive. We all have battles, we all have fights within our lives. We talk about picking the fights, but also there's always the pros and cons of each battle. But I digress. So phone people when you can. I like to set out an hour at least for each phone conversation because I don't know why. I don't know if it's just human nature. I don't know if it's just the circles I keep in.
Expressionless face, but the digonates and the plebs need to be yelled at.
Yeah, I mean, if you can do it, personally, I think I'm a bit old for that. But if you're able to straighten out some of these degenerates and plebs, I think you are doing the world a service. But personally, for me, for our small circles, for me, I think it's more damaging than helpful to the people I'm trying to straighten out. So I do all this
Arguing
constant
with Mormons
communication.
is a waste of time.
I do all this constant communication, regardless of whether people respond or not, and that's the main point I want to make. Whether people like, subscribe, whether you get hundreds and thousands of views or you get no views, whether people respond to my text messages, whether people pick up the phone or not, I still have these same habits. These are habits that I keep up regardless of the response. And gentlemen, you have to get to that point where you commit to action, you stick to your schedule, you
You are right. It caused me great mental harm in the past. It is curious the desire to do so re-emerges from time to time.
you have to keep up these habits regardless of the responses you get from other people. Other people can keep you feedback. That always reminds me of Kipling's poem. It says, "If you can, if all voices, something about if you can listen to all voices and none so much." So he's basically saying you can take on board feedback, but you don't take it too deeply to heart. So people will always criticize, but be careful how you take it on board. Don't take it too deeply to heart because they can be right, they can be wrong. So don't attach yourself too much to feedback. But yeah, listen to all feedback. That's a great skill to have, I think. And I think that's it. So yeah, 24-hour fasting, 48 hours if you're able to do it. Grief, acceptance,
You don't
growth.
think you would be perceived as needy if you text without responses?
Orbs, listen to me. Take that straight out of your head. Whatever people think of you, people think you're needy, if people think you're the a-hole, if people think you are the wisest, people think you're Yoda, it doesn't matter, brother. Once once you've found a good path, once you've established good habits, you just do them regardless of what people think. I'm sure sometimes I'll be out doing stuff. I'm sure there's a lot of habits. There's a lot of things I do that people think he's very strange. He's very strange. You got to cast that out of your mind. I'm trying to think of another example. There's probably loads of examples.
If the infamous Hairless Ape was a PSYOPs agent, as he claimed, he warned us that Fight Club in the manosphere serves the interest of UNC.
Oh, let me check if YouTube has got me up yet. I know last time I was broadcasting for an hour before I realised I wasn't online. Let me check the second. Yeah, because sometimes they won't show. sometimes they won't show the. What did Emma just say? Oh, Emma was
Well,
just.
I get told I act 3 times my age.
Yeah, you get to a point. I mean, ironically, it was Gary Barlow. I don't know if you guys know Gary Barlow is. Gary Barlow says, "Don't believe them when they tell you you're the best, and don't believe them when they tell you you're the worst. You'll never be the best or the worst at anything. It's very, very difficult to be the best or the worst at anything. So, people's opinions, listen to them, but if you know you're doing something good, and people tell you that it's bad, keep doing it. If you know something is bad and people are telling you to do it, don't do it. You have to keep your virtues, keep your principles, stay strong. So I think that was it. Vary your habits. Make this year different
What
to next year.
exercises do you do shining?
Well, because I'm getting old.
Shining-SFM may do reads and discussions on each chapter of Las Triskelion. Are you interested in coming for one of those streams?
Oh yeah. I have picked up Messengers or Lazarus, his book again. I've started reading from where I left off, and because I'm not watching as much YouTube anymore, the book actually does serve some great. I don't know what it is. I think it is just a different experience from listening to someone narrate it and reading it as well. I don't know. I can't quite put my finger on it. Why is reading different to listening to somebody read it? But yeah, that does sound interesting. I don't know if you remember, MA. I used to start disseminating some of the old stuff on my old Shining Light channel. I think Orb says, "What exercise do I do?" I used to run. I used to sprint for 20 minutes twice a week. That was
Our grand
very.
plot is to force him to narrate it and release an audio version of it.
I think if you ask him, he will. I think if you ask Messi, he'll narrate it if you like. All his videos, the book is just text version of his video. Just watch his videos if you want to hear an audio narration of Triskelion. But yeah, Orbs ask what exercise I do. I used to, and I think you're quite young, Orbs. I think you're in your 20s. I used to sprint for 20 minutes twice a week. That used to be good for my sleep. That used to be good for my metabolism, good for everything. But now I'm almost 50. I do my what I think that in Japan they call katas. I don't know what they call it in China. I need to find the Chinese word, but it's just a procedure of martial arts moves. I'm trying to think of a comparison. Orbs, you're a games player. It's like doing a 10-hit combo on Tekken. Tekken, they've got like the 10-hit, 15-hit combos. So you just do a couple of katas like that. Obviously, if you're younger, you'll be able to do more of the assert. What's the word now? Oh my vocabulary escapes me. Assertive, exert. Yeah, exertion. Yeah, if you're younger, you'll be able to exert yourself. But when you get a bit old like me,
Have
it's
you
a more
figured out
calmer
Discord
katas.
yet?
I'm on Discord. I don't know why Discord won't allow people to talk on the PS5. So yeah, that's exercise I do. Orbs, physical exercise. I try and occasionally I do go for a run. I just run down the block. I run down the block and run back because you need the fresh air. And yeah, I'll do sit-ups. I'll do my press-ups. They're always easy. They're the foundation of exercise. Sit-ups, press-ups, katas. Yeah, great way to keep blood flowing. But I should also mention that mental exercise is important as well. I do play chess against the computer. They finally got down the AI of because I actually used to play chess against AI when I was a kid. I've always played chess since I was like 5 or 6 years old. Because my elder brother and sister played chess at school, it was something that I took up as a kid. But yeah, now you can play against the computer quite convincingly. But your mental exercise, some games are great for exercise, like RTS, real time strategy games. I used to play Warcraft 3, not World of Warcraft, Warcraft 3. Also, Command and Conquer. Great games for thinking 2, 3 moves ahead. Great for strategic minded or planning, resource management, things that get you thinking, things that will make you tired. You'll be strangely puzzled by how playing these games makes you physically sleepy afterwards. But mental exercise is just as important as physical exercise. Or just read
In
a
Discord I
very
can scene share and show you how to do it. It transfers your PS5 into the Discord VC channel.
Okay, I'll
It's
speak
so
to you,
easy
MA, about
peasy a
that.
boomer can do I.
I'll speak to you later, inshallah, MA, about that. Yeah, so obviously I hope that answers your question. But yeah, but any physical or mental exertion is considered exercise. So I hope my little monologue will prove useful to some of you. Not all of you will be on that stage. What I've just said is for my circles only. A lot of people, they're still trying to move away from the dating game. They're still on, if you're still on Tinder or whatever it is now, I know they change every year, it's a new app, or if you still think, oh, my diet, I don't actually eat a lot, Orbs. I think you'll be surprised how little a a guy in his late 40s needs to eat. I normally only have one meal a day. I laughed at SFM yesterday for mentioning salad and a piece of fruit, but that's actually what I have. I laughed at SFM for mentioning that, but that's actually what I eat. I'll eat a salad and a piece of fruit. About twice a week, I'll have like chicken or beef or some salmon. I I don't buy cheap stuff anymore. I know.
Life is funny. I have managed to get my ambition and energy levels up. I am ready to hike and such, and then my body visited a horrible abs.
Okay, sorry about that, MA. Oh, they didn't. Okay, so your body visited a horrible abscess on me, which I am recovering from. Ah, yeah. Sorry about that, MA. Yeah. You always get a curveball now and again, which is why I think when we talk about lifestyle habits, they always have to be adaptable. Which is why I also mentioned about the grief, acceptance, and growth level, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, how they are always jumping up and down. If your mind is set that this is the solid root of grieving, of acceptance, if this is the solid model for human needs, then yeah, you're going to struggle. You're not going to understand what's really happening because, like I said, I think we're all in different state. We all embrace, or we're all always in a constant multiple categories when it comes to needs and when it comes to stages of grief and acceptance. I don't think we're ever completely in grieving. We're never completely in that growth stage. We're always a little bit in each, and depending where we are in our circumstances, we're on different levels of grief. We're on different levels of acceptance, growth, and we have different priorities in our Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So I hope that answers
But the
that
good
question.
news is I need nothing but witch hazel and tea tree oil to treat it. I did not have to visit a doctor to get it lanced.
You know, I like that. I think the more we share knowledge, the more we share information, the more we can see there's healing in almost every natural source. I I had a big problem with my tooth. I've got this overgrowing tooth, and I spent a year trying to convince my dentist to just like cut this tooth down because this tooth just kept growing. And after about a year, I tried to get private dental care, and they said, well, first you have to get referred to by your NHS dentist. And my NHS dentist just said, no, we'll just pull it out. I thought, that's drastic, because it's a front tooth. And it honestly, it just keeps growing. Yeah, it probably could do with pulling out, but I said, well, let's just see if we can just grind it down a bit so it's not like overlapping.
Has done wonders for me.
But there's natural remedies, and there's ways you can solve your medical needs, I think, that they don't always tell you. So all I did, I bought a dental drill. I can't believe I was about to pay $500 to get this tooth ground down. I bought a dental drill, I did it myself. I just ground the tooth out myself, and now I'm fine. Because when your tooth is overgrown, it catches on everything. But I ground it down, and it's now a little stub. And I'm I'm absolutely fine, alhamdulillah. So anyway.
That is manly off.
Yeah, I went into Amazon and bought a dental drill. But yeah, $50 it cost me instead of $500. So anyway, all these advices, all these words of wisdom that we share, it's the proof, they say, is in the pudding. The proof, the value of these advice is in the results that you get. The intrinsical, the extrinsic. I do actually, Orbs, especially if I'm working. I say I'm working, but yeah, you have to find a right. I think job, career is probably the most difficult part, because you are engaging with elements, factors that you have no control of. Yeah, so when I'm working, I do schedule my day, I schedule my week, I schedule my month, I schedule my year, but not so much as if I don't do it, I get what's the word now? Obsessive compulsive disorder. I get OCD. No, if something happens, I just leave it. Yeah, that's another thing. You have to be accepting that, things are not always going to work out. You have to be accepting that you're not always going to reach your goals. You're not always going to get complete results as well, or the perfect performance in your goals as well. So yeah, I do schedule my day. I think it is part of the human need as well. You do have to know to some level what's coming. If every day you're facing the unexpected, if you don't know where you're going to be next year, if you don't know if you're even going to have a home or a job next year, it's quite it's quite distressful.
I think sometimes something deep within us knocks. This is ourselves requesting audience with ourselves.
Yeah, well said, Emma. Yeah, we have to face ourselves. We have to look in the mirror sometimes, and we have to ask ourselves some existential questions. But yeah, I do schedule my day.
How do you schedule your month and year?
Well, it depends on what I want to do on that month. So last year or recently, I had difficulty with my ankles and knees, so I'm behind in my physical exercise. So I schedule, as soon as I get better, I'll schedule like a run, like twice a week. So I used to run twice a week, as I said. So I've scheduled either for December or January to get back into running again. For work, it's obvious you're given your schedule then. But then for work, you normally get your lunch hour. I schedule where I'm going to go for that lunch hour. I schedule what I'm going to eat. So then when I know what I'm going to eat for lunch, then I know what I'm going to have for breakfast, which is usually nothing. If I eat lunch, I miss breakfast. If I eat breakfast, I don't have lunch.
No country for old men with bad knees.
That's a good film, actually. No Country for Old Men. I do like that film. But also, if I'm gonna, I also schedule my phone calls as well, my phone calls and my meetups. So I have a friend. I'll meet him like once a month, and if I don't meet him that month, I'll do something even more extravagant the next month. So normally I'll meet him for a coffee, and if I don't meet him for a coffee that month, I'll go somewhere like the arcade club the next month. And if I miss that, we'll do something even bigger. So do you see how it's always adapting? And I'm not always saying, well, if A doesn't happen, then I'll do B. And if B doesn't happen, I'll do C. It sounds a bit OCD, but it comes naturally after you've been doing it your entire life. And it makes your day pass quite nicely as well. Normally, it helps your sleeping patterns, which at the moment I am having problems with my sleeping. But then you have to adapt for that. For example, I'm having problems with my sleeping pattern, so I've adapted my schedule for sleeping problems. So, so on Monday when I start work, if I don't sleep that day, I will just shower or bath. I'll have coffee because if I don't sleep that day, it means my mind is not as clear and focused. So
Schedule a few with me. Maybe I can be reined in from wasting time trolling the internet.
I'll have breakfast, which means I'll be more energetic, and I'll have a strong coffee in that morning. Where normally I'll miss breakfast and I'll eat lunch. That's my ideal schedule. So do you see, Orbs? Each schedule I keep is adaptable, and I'm constantly changing it just in case I get thrown a curveball. So now I don't sleep last night, or I don't sleep the night before work. I'll have breakfast. If I do sleep the night before, I'll just bring in a bottle of water into work, and I'll have lunch, and that will see me through to the afternoon. But also, I'm scheduling for the long term as well. So, for example, if this job doesn't work out, I'm going to apply for other jobs within my city. If I don't get anything within my city, I'll move up to Scotland, which at the moment is viable in the UK. And if I don't get anything in Scotland, I've made plans for that as well. So I'm always planning 2, 3, 4 steps ahead. So I plan for my week, I plan for my day, I plan for my week, I plan for my month. So what was I saying? Extrinsic performance results.
Do you do this on paper or use some programming?
I use paper. I use program. I think it on my head. I plan it before. I plan it when I have a moment. I sometimes discuss it with the people I'm talking to as well. You guys probably do the same as well. You know, when you're on the phone with your friend, you'll normally talk about your schedule, your long-term plans. Normally, it's because your friends will have some insight that you didn't have. I think I've said before, a lot of my friends, they do inspire me to do other things. So, you know, God bless my small circles. Yeah, but I was thinking, you know, what other factors keeps me on this path? Because it doesn't really come naturally in this environment. Our way of life is not conducive to the matrix that we're surrounded in. We are trying to remove ourselves from the matrix as much as possible, which obviously means that we're mavericks. So how do I motivate myself? How do I keep myself? Or what kind of things prompt me to increase my enthusiasm for this ideology? And that's, I get constant reminders. I always see, we call them simps, we call them manginas. You know, you see them everywhere, especially when you have quite large engagement with the public. And I see how, you know, the smiles, you know, couples, partners, sadly, I don't rejoice in it. You know, I know we pity them and stuff, but for me, it's sad to see how couples are breaking up, how fathers are alienated, and separation. You see it everywhere. You know, it doesn't make me happy, but it does make me more. It just increase my conviction that what I'm doing is the safest and best path. You know, I see the smiles turn into frowns. I see the affection turn from silence into aggression. You know, I see people fighting for wealth and power. You know, these are things that we aspire to, but
Shining, I sent you a message in Discord regarding a delicate matter.
all
Just a
right,
heads up.
okay, thanks, Emmy.
Well, what is the alternative?
Yeah, obviously, I think if you can avoid as much of the damage as possible. I mean, when we talk about these things, really, the damage, what the detrimental effects to, you know, to the death of masculinity, you know, to the male role model, to fatherhood. You know, it is very destructive. If if you don't have methods and practices and habits that counter the effects of the matrix, if you're not on some type of path, if you don't have
Life is
strong,
remarkably simple when you don't involve women in it.
yeah, you go beyond that though. It's more than just women orbs, because gynocentrism is facilitated by men. You know, most of our rulers are male, and you have to admit that Biden's male, Sunak's male, most of the American leadership has been male. They facilitate gynocentrism, and you have to understand why they are no better than the gynocentric perpetrators. When you understand that, you know why we do the things we do. You know why we avoid legacy
Idle
media.
hands are the devil's and women's plaything.
Yeah. And you know why we have to keep good company. Not just from toxic women, but also toxic men as well. You have to understand that. And I think it goes without saying now. But yeah, but most of all, I think it's trying to lead a life of dignity. You're trying to get yourself on that continual pursuit of a life away from being constantly abused or constantly taken advantage
The
of.
sexual dynamics of humans edge me to misanthropy.
Yeah, that's also a danger as well. Misanthropy. That's something you do want to, because the
Toxic men.
detrimental.
That's misandry.
Yeah, there is a lot of damaged people, men and women. Yeah, you're going to find that if you think it's only women, you're going to end up listening to people like we have in that are coming into the manosphere and just ruining the MGTOW label, ruining the red pill label, to the point there we can't even call ourselves that anymore because we don't want to be associated with them. So yeah, it's all about trying to keep your sanity. It's all about trying to keep your dignity. But I think that's it. That's it for my monologue.
Don't be a misanthrope, says the
Yeah,
misanthrope.
I think something we do in academia is we recognize or we identify these terms so we can avoid it or embrace it. When you learn the meaning, when you learn to what we say, identify terms, ideas, concepts, then you learn to analyze them, and then after you've had a good analytic, good research, when you've gone past that stage, then comes the synthesis stage, where you learn how to synthesize your findings, your knowledge into application. And I think that's what we refer to as them. Anyway, let me talk about this game. So Igor, he didn't like this game. And I think because people were so hyped up on the first one. So Last of Us, in my opinion, and in many other, it's won the most
As the
awards.
resident misanthrope, I do warn against it. In all seriousness, there is tremendous beauty in humanity. Discovering it may no involve.
Yeah, discovering it may involve others directly, may not involve others directly. I don't know which one you meant to say. But yeah, Last of Us, by far the best game that's ever been made. Technically advanced, superior programming techniques. It really established Sony and the PlayStation as the best platform for video and computer games. They did make a TV series. They did make a TV series of Last of Us. I would say it wasn't too bad. I think it was a huge mistake using the Game of Thrones actors and actresses in another TV series. I think you can get typecast when you do like a 8 season series, TV series, where there's like fancy costumes and it's all over social. It's all over it's become culturalized. So, but anyway.
Has the Naughty Dog check come in yet?
Yeah, the Naughty Dog are fantastic. For me, I think that set Naughty Dog in the halls of fame, making Last of Us. Last of Us being the greatest game, tons of awards. People had huge expectations for the second one, and obviously having high expectations, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. They were charging big bucks for the second one, and why not? If you've made the best game that's ever been created, then why shouldn't you cash in on a sequel?
Movie game.
Yeah, I think games have, at this point, they have to do more than just be, how would you say, just be fun. Games have to be more than just be fun. But they have to make you think. They have to bring you back to them. Like most games, I dread. I say, oh, well, I bought it now. I have to complete it. But I think Last of Us, you're always happy to come back to it. But I wanted to point out the moral story of this game. Shall I tell you the moral story? It's got lots of spoilers. Well, it relates to something I was talking about earlier, which was about confrontation. Let me show off some of the technical abilities. The PlayStation. See, normally it would take a mid-range PC quite a long time to do this. So this is Ellie, an orphaned girl who seems to be uniquely immune to the disease that's spreading across
Shut
them.
up so you can simp for The Last of Us.
So Ellie, her adopted father gets killed, gets murdered, and she spends the rest of her life hunting for the girl who murdered him. Great scene, very dramatic. But as you can see from these 3D models, she gets more and more decrepit. The more effort and time and blood that she spills to try and find her nemesis, who is this girl here. Her name's Abby, whose father was murdered by Ellie's adopted father. So yeah, you would think she rightly takes revenge on I think his name's Joel. But yeah, but then you see as she's made it her life's goal
Right
to
off the bat, Girls and fathers never avenge the murder of the men in their lives.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, MA, for that. But yeah, she becomes more and more morally decrepit and corrupted the more she focuses on revenge, because she has to sacrifice. It could have been a boy. It could have just as easily been a boy. All these characters are really the main focus is on the circumstances and on the moral dilemmas. So she's basically spends
Reality check.
the the entirety of her life trying to get revenge on the man that murdered her father, and it's cost her her friends, her relationship, and also eventually it cost her her health. So these two girls, they end up basically sacrificing everything for something that, yeah, they could have perhaps found an alternative. I don't know. That is a good question. I know in the prison service in the US,
But it
they
wasn't a boy, which is more realistic.
yeah, that's true, MA. That is true. I think realism is important, but if they had made it predictable, I think I don't know how would it have looked. I'm trying to think now. What if they used Ellie? If Ellie was a boy instead? I think Abby was a boy instead. I wonder how that would have looked. But look at this. Look at these 3D models, man. So this is actually generated. This is not
Why
a
can't
video.
girls and women avenge their fathers, sons or husbands?
I don't know, MA. Maybe somewhere someone out there actually does. Okay, so yeah. So this is actually ended. Just looking at some of the technical feats of gaming. So they used what's that word? Ray tracing to make the textures. So they build the 3D models. They built the 3D models, and yeah, look at the hair. Hair and fire was always a difficult graphical achievement, but I think they've well nailed it. This is PS4 run on a PS. These are PS4. Well, actually, it was originally on PS3, but anyway, these graphics on the PlayStation. But yeah, I think they've come a long way. It's almost realistic. But yeah, look at the textures, the details. The hair, I think, is really good as well. They always had difficulty with hair. See the particles, the texturing, very good. And to animate it in 60 frames per second is a great achievement. But I'll play through one level.
I've played too many games to ever decide the best one.
Oh, I think I thought about this for the longest time. I think if we're going to have the best game ever, Last of Us definitely top there. I think number two, controversially, would be man, I've even forgotten its name. Half-Life 2. Half-Life 2 came out at a time when there were no such thing as open world. There was no open world game, and Half-Life 2 introduced the first look or the first feel of what an open game would look like due to the memory limitations of machines back in the 90s. Half-Life 2 would load each section of the map when you came to a certain point. When you came to the edge of a load
Can
point,
you
it would
start
load the
us a
next section.
video about Peterson?
Yeah, yeah, Jordan. If it's Jordan, I can't stand Jordan Peterson. Biggest shill fake. Probably one of the worst men
I
I've ever
prefer
come across.
Half-Life 1 to 2. I read
Half-Life 1 was
something
also great.
recently that if Tetris is played soon after a trauma or distressing situation, the player will better recover.
Maybe I do think that there are some great benefits to video games. I think they're quite passed over. They're looked over in general society due to the fact that a lot of people don't understand them or haven't given them a fair go. But yeah, I think as long as you don't take them. I think it's with anything, if you do something too much, if you take it beyond certain limits, it can be damaging. But to a certain degree, you can take benefits from it. Me, I remember when I was at high school, I actually learned a lot of English from video games
The best
because
FPS in my mind is Doom Eternal.
the games would come with manuals, and I would always read the manuals, and there'd always be words that I didn't understand, and I'd always look or keep an ear out for this word. So it actually improved my English doing this. I'd take the manuals and I'd read the manuals over and over again, and in the games as well, because the games are normally programmed by adults. They always have adult themes and stuff, and it did teach me a lot. I think I learned more from video games than from my parents and my teachers. But, okay, what's this? 611. Do you want to load this adapter? Let's turn the cheats on. Yeah, we'll play a little bit of this, and then if you don't have any questions,
I'm in my no video game playing phase of the year. Like clockwork, in a few months I will be drawn back in.
No video game playing phase. Oh, yeah. I was I sold my PS4 a couple of years ago. I stayed on the Xbox for a while with Element, and then my nephew jumped out, and then me and Element we stopped playing for the past 6 months. I've got how to play this game. I've got how to play it. Okay, what's the one? Is it this one? Okay, so I think everyone's. I think everyone's an enemy on this. Oh, except for her or him. Yeah.
I go through months where I don't play at all, and then months where I play 10 or more.
Yeah. That's what I think. That's what I was discussing about as well. So I actually went through a couple of shits. That one is it? Oh man, how do I?
Same odds.
It's good to have. It's good to have periods where you abstain or fast. But just check out the graphics, guys.
Maybe this is more common than I thought.
I've forgotten how to play this game. What does this button do? Oh, there it is. Oh, yeah. Oh, she's dead. Oh, wow, look at that. She took that arrow out of her arm. Oh, that's the button there. It's actually quite difficult. Get my ass whooped. Alright, so R1 is sense. L1 is run. Just look at the graphics, guys. I know they spent a lot of money on. I didn't want that.
The graphics are great. I hear the story is solid. The voice acting is top-notch, but the premise triggers me. Girls don't love the men in there. Shining the Sony fanboy.
You know, I've also got an Xbox and a PC. Oh, she's dead. I got killed. Sorry, guys. I did terrible. Whips out the flamethrower. Thought I could get something.
Shining the Nintendo hater.
I actually was a big fan of the Super Nintendo.
How dare you let that brave girl die?
Yeah. See what I can get from here. So this shows you where everyone is. So that's very useful. But it's good because when you shoot them in the leg, they actually hold their leg. Shake a leg, woman.
Shining, do you have a pre-built PC?
Yeah. Oh no, mine's is custom. I've never bought a pre-built PC. Mine's is custom. What's it got? Oh, I've got an old PC. I got an old 8-core AMD. What's it called? It was the one after the Ultron or something like that. AMD Ultron. I can't remember what it's called. But it's the old one. It's the old, like 2011. What's the button now?
Shining is PC Master Race, but with a penchant for simping Sony games. Not to buy a Frederica, bro.
Okay, let me see. It's this one. The problems with PC is the compatibility situation, the drivers and the constant updating.
Shining RTX 4090 is only $1,500.
Only $1,500, guys. That's the problem with the PC. Right there. See, for that amount, you could get a PS5. You could get a PS5 VR system for $1,500.
Just use Arch to fix all compatibility issues.
Yeah, I did it.
Don't let your guard down.
I did it.
Hold it.
See, if there's any other misogynists to take care of.
My lunch break is over.
You have to go, Orbs. We'll see you next time. Yeah, MA, if you wanna see, look. When they make the textures of new games, the textures will reflect the light that's been shone out. So the light source here is the sunset, which is over there, and as the sun moves across the horizon, the shadows will change as well. and the amount of polygons used for the characters goes into the multi-millions. So even though you're looking at her and it's like a smooth contours and surfaces, they actually use polygons to build these characters, and the grass, everything is polygons. I played Days Gone.
Things about it.
Yeah.
The protagonist is a man on a motorcycle.
Yeah, I played Days Gone. It's not as good. Not a Naughty Dog quality production. It's just, I think Naughty Dog, they're just putting a lot more work. Their artistry, the design.
Exploding head.
Just the, I think they're the bee's knees. Apart from, I think Quantic Dreams is the one that made Detroit and Two Souls. It's just the amount of work. They are the Sega of the modern era. They are the Sega and the Nintendo of modern era. Sega and Nintendo, I think their days are gone. But yeah, Sony rightly got Naughty Dog exclusives. I think they made this for PC, didn't they? Didn't they make The Last of Us for PC? But look, you see, making graphics is another thing, but making it look like gritty and dirty and aged, that is very difficult. Look that sign looks like it's...
Yell at you for caping for China-centric video games.
Caping? You see, I've never heard that expression before, but I'm thinking caping is referring to... you think caping, superheroes and stuff. But no, the game's, I think, is well tested. It's smoothed out. I don't think it's ever crashed once, which is more than can be said for the PS4. My PS4 was always crashing. But yeah, the frame rate, the resolution, I think it's as good as you can make it. As good as games get.
That's what I am here for. Yeah, caping men's championing.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Right, guys, that's me for today.
Keep low.
So, join me next time. Hopefully, we'll
Get ready.
we'll do a couple more before.
Fuck you.
Right, guys, thanks a lot. Join me next time for my next broadcast. Take care.